bat, first thing I want to ask is, what are your earliest memories of each other when it in pertaining to like rap and hip hop?
Well, you had to start with the first time we met. You know, I think as far as I can remember, the first time I met Robert S. was at the WKWM talent show auditions at Sheldon Complex.
The conflict.
Grand Rapids, Michigan. I don't know the year, what was it, 1979? It might have been like 1979. Yeah. And they had a community talent show. It was kind of youth-based, you know, try to keep the kids into something positive. And we had probably started rapping. Freed wasn't even rapping then, he was dancing. And my adopted brother, Rockatelli, Holly Rock at that time, we had started rapping from talking about our camp counselor at Upper Bound, which was like a pre-college program. Just a few months before that, maybe a couple of months before, he had wrote our first little raps, you know, kind of dogging out our counselor, and everybody thought it was funny. We made little jokes about her in our raps. And then we saw a flyer, heard on the radio, WKWM back at that time was like the only black radio station in Grand Rapids, the little AM station. And they put a call out, you know, we have these auditions down at Sheldon Complex. If you could sing, they didn't mention rappers, if you could sing, you know, dance, do magic tricks, tell jokes, come down and audition.
There was bands in it too.
Bands, exactly. Yeah. And we was like, well, we're gonna go do this new rap thing we're doing. You gotta remember now, rap is like branded. I mean, Good Times was the only song that most people knew. We had dove right in, so we knew a couple of other records. Roger said what he was hip to. But we heard a couple other records other than Good Times. So we knew rap wasn't just a one song thing.
Yeah.
And somehow we got like an instrumental to Grandmaster Flash, I think it was Freedom. They had a song about freedom, and on the B side they put an instrumental. Like so you could do your own rap on top of. And we heard about it. It was like after school, come down and audition. And it was a bunch of kids, you know, probably 20, 25 kids wanted to get in the show, maybe more than that. And that's the first time I saw this dude. He walked in, big tall dude. And we rapped and he rapped. We was the only ones that rapped. And that created our connection right there. Like, oh man, you rap. You know, that was the first time we ever met another rapper. Like, oh, you definitely rap.
And that's how I felt like. I felt like an alien almost who ran into another alien. Like, well, somebody else that do this for real.
Right. We were saying before the camera came on, you know, it's hard to describe to people now how new it was. Because rap has been around, hip hop been around so long now. It's just a part of culture. But back then, it was brand new. There wasn't nobody thinking about rap. Like Rob said, bands, we try to play instruments, playing the horn, singing, trying to be like, you know, Brass Construction or Confunction or whatever the group, the sound power at the time. So rap was just a brand new entity nobody was doing.
Yeah. So who rapped first? Who was the first one to get on stage?
On stage?
At that show?
Oh, God, you have to check. You have to check it up.
That's good.
Let's do it up there. I know we won.
I thought Parlo Connection won.
No,
that year.
We beat them.
I could have sworn Parlo won that year.
See,
our first day of that talent show, that's why all our memories are different. But
we won. They did SOS band. Take your time, do it right. Baby, you can do it. Take your time, do it right. Yeah. They had the outfits, the grid, and I know we won because we walked home with the trophy from Wealthy Street Theater. All the way home.
They might have won. I give them that. I always thought Parlo Connection won because I always remember that as the last time a band ever won.
They was expected to win because they was the most popular team.
Yeah, and
that
was after his uncle running that. He would run that with Tap.
And my cousin was in it, and my cousin Leonard Bernie Tusi was in it. We knew all those cats. We all grew up together. We from the same neighborhood, and they was expected to win because they was like a talented bunch of dudes playing full horn section, bass, and they was doing one of the most popular songs at the time, Taking Time, Do It Right. Yeah. And then we got up there and did our thing, and it was just like so new. For the time it came out with the horns from Freedom. People was like, oh, what is this? You know, and the threes of them was popping, and we had a routine. We and Shaw. Got to do it with Sundance. They had rap,
You had the routine to go with the words and had a little outfit. You had our little same outfit.
And I was shaking like a leaf. I remember that. It was my first time. Well, I did a couple of plays in the upper bound program that I mentioned. I had been like in some plays, so I've been on stage, but this was different. You know, it's like they turned the lights, the curtain open, and it's the Fantasy Four, and they hit us with the lights, and I was just like, shaking the whole thing. It took me about half the song before I even got the groove. And I was just like, a little rap, the rap, the different type of rap. I was just saying my rap, but I made it through it. You know, it was, like I said, it was such a new thing that people was like, wow, you know. So that was it.
So what's your experience remembering that moment?
I remember just when I met them, just like, wow, I was happy and shocked at the same time, because the happiness was, if two groups are doing this, then there's a chance for this to last. It's a chance for rap really to have an impact. Because I know in my circle, well, I've been rapping since like when I first heard Rap Delight at the Rolling World was the first time I heard it. And I'd already did a little poetry and I sing a lot, so we called it snap. And sometimes we snapped in rhymes. So when we first hear them with the first two bars of Rap Delight, it's like, this ain't nothing we ain't heard. We heard Hustler's Convention. We heard Fatback before. Fatback had let a rapper say something on it. But when we got done hearing 15 minutes of that, now it's like, go to the roller skating rink and go straight to DJ. What is this? You can't compare Hustler's Convention. Yeah. You can't compare Fatback Band, Millie Jackson, nothing to this.
Yeah.
What is this? And the guy said, this is rapping. Rapping. Wow. So first we just start trying to learn their rhymes. Then we start saying our own little rhymes. Probably the next couple months saying our own little rhymes. But like I was telling Vito before, well, he was telling me, we were discussing both, acknowledging that the level of rap that Vito and Freeze and Rockatelli and Sundance was doing and the level of rap I was doing, no one else really wanted to rap. Let's say a guy played with you with a little battle with 3-4 bars and you hit him with 32. He done. He gonna play football, basketball, be a lawyer. He don't want no rap. It ain't like today. Everybody think they could rap. So when I seen them and rapping so good, I'm shocked. I'm happy. And I'm thinking, this gonna last. Cause now I could hear myself rap, but I couldn't really judge it. But to sit back and see somebody out of body experience that's doing it at the same level, plus they already had the dancers in the stage show when I was solo. So I had to build my stage show, and my stage show got so extravagant and crazy. We'll talk about that later on. We got the robots, Herbie Hancock, everything, but it was based on their first show. Like, they got dancers, they got routines, they got a little extra than just what we see Sugar Hill. They're already trying to expand into a unique brand. So I always accredit that if it wasn't no You Okay, I wouldn't have been a legend, because I was living 2 streets away too, and you got this competition. But no. But I was happy to see them. My friends weren't though. My friends were like, great competition, good boy. What's gonna happen next? They're gonna bring us out the picture. What are we gonna do?
That's what made it fun.
But we always got along.
Yeah, that's what made it fun. Like, it was like the comic books, you know. You gotta have a foe to every, you know. Yeah. To his crew, we was the villain. To our crew, they was the villain. So you had to have that interplay back and forth. But it would change with Rob, because sometimes we'd be tight. We collaborate. Yeah. You know? Like when Rob, as we got more into it, started expanding, going to New York. My first trip to New York, me and Robert S. Yeah. You know, the first time, and we decided that on a humbug, sitting on my mom's porch, trying to make it in the business. You know, we like seeing all these rappers getting famous. We like, nah, we got to make it in this. You know, we got to go to New York. Just out the blue, I'm serious, like one summer day, like back in the day. Like, we got to go to New York to do this. And we planned it that day. My adopted brother, Holly Rock, we each had a responsibility. Now, this is way before the internet, GPS, any of that. We came up with something everybody had to do. Rob had to go like get the clothes or whatever we was taking together. I had to go in and going down in my basement and get the addresses of all the record companies. Rock had to go get the car checked out and get a AAA map to New York. Yep. This is no joke. We did this, you know. Yeah. So we thinking this at like noon.
How old were you when you did this?
Wait, maybe
I think you was a year older than me.
played 90 years old.
You're too old.
And we was like, we leaving tomorrow morning. We figured that we found out that it takes 12 hours to get to New York City. We said we leaving tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Go handle your business. I'm gonna handle mine. Rock to get the car checked out, get the oil changed, get a map. We out. We taking our little demos, our raps. We're going to New York. And sure enough, the next morning, we was on the highway to New York City.
And unlike today, a lot of kids feel they know what New York is and Atlanta is, even though they never went to some of these cities, but there's so much video.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to preview a city without really going to the city. With us, the most we might see in New York is maybe if they're doing a TV show and the little clip, that's the intro, so some taxi cabs driving. When we first came over that Washington Bridge and saw them buildings,
Yeah.
And we saw like on the back of the Grandmaster Flash album covers.
yeah, that's what we saw in
The
the
message, we knew it was rough, but we was like, we going, because that's where it's happening at.
Yeah.
So when you see it, your first time you see New York City in real life, oh man, it's at 19 years old with no parents, we're not going to summer camp, we're not going to school, we just three.
Then police brutality, we didn't get beat up, but when we got stopped in New Jersey, that's the first time we saw officers that wasn't like Midwest. How you doing? You got your license? That was like,
The lights on.
lights on you?
Yeah.
Who are you? Where you going?
You didn't know where we were.
You remember we got stopped at the airport when me and you went?
Yep.
We went through all that stuff.
We went through all that at the airport.
They had everything on conveyor belt. Like we just trying to miss some music.
Make some music. But when they stopped us in Patterson that night, man, I think, we passing through New Jersey to New York and we got stopped. It was like what kids see and expect from law enforcement today, which is not always bad, but kids expect the worst. We didn't even expect the worst from law enforcement back then.
Yeah.
We didn't expect,
Right.
but that there even put us on a new reality. Like, wait a minute,
Yeah. Yeah,
we knew then we're risking our life.
we had to come back and regroup.
So what happened on the trip, bro?
I
What was
think
our-
my
It was
was
an eye
there.
opener. We got to Manhattan, like Rob
was
said,
there.
came over the bridge. We got to Manhattan and
We went to the record companies though.
yeah.
We went to Profile.
Wow.
We went to a few. Do you remember going up to a few of these?
I remember.
We went to a few buildings. You always knew the address of Profile.
740
Vito. See, that's how we went to Profile.
740 Bravo.
That's how we went to Profile. I don't think they got in. They got a chance to do much, but get up there, talk to the secretary, and
But if you
Try to-
do the math,
okay.
if you leave here at 5 o'clock, you get to New York at 5:30. So we enter Manhattan in the middle of the rush. So we got and we got Michigan license plates. We driving like Michiganders, when the light change, you take a minute, look both ways, slowly pull out. People in back of us, come on, straight New York style. This is like the early 80s. So New York was a much ruder place back then. Times Square was like full of orange shops and, so we just it's all a blur to me. I was just like, somebody dropped a sub sandwich from like a carpet, hit the roof of our car.
Yeah.
Boom, like this crazy. It was just all like a whirlwind, just stuff happening. We trying to look at the map and trying to figure out the streets and how to get place. No GPS, it was just wild.
And the thing is, me and Vito, everybody knew us from rapping against each other. Then we was friends. Every now and then we still do a battle. People didn't know we lived 2 blocks. But we were gonna do something together. And for somehow, y'all came to my house on Alexander looking for me. I don't know if you remember this, Vito. Somehow y'all found me in the car. Vito was like, you coming to live with me.
Because it was a daily operation. It was an innocent time. You get up in the morning, get your little something to eat, got a whole summer off. You like, what we gonna do? What we gonna do? Oh, well, we gonna rap for sure. We gonna practice, we gonna rap. And Rob was part of the thing. We're like, let's see what Rob dressed though. So we driving around, see his house, see a car. His car wasn't your car, I don't know. It was a car. We look to see Rob in the back of the car, like laying down. Like, what's going on? I'm like,
You here on the night?
like, what are you doing, Rob? And
It's where I live.
yeah, it's like, man, we gotta do something about that. And my mom, I thank my mom for all of it because she always was like this. a safe harbor. Yeah, so many people, man. So many cats from back in the day stayed at our house 2 weeks, a month, getting their shit together.
So Trisha Cox, I'll never forget the other day me and Freed were battling how wearing Freed jeans. I said, I better quit battling for it. Said, he never did that, but he could have been, you wearing my clothes, man. I said, man, I'm going too deep on Freed. I need to stop. But if rappers could be like that today in Grand Rapids, that's the unity it took for us to put Grand Rapids on the map. Both of us having major record deals, and John Trice, 3 out the same generation. Right. 3 major label deals in Grand Rapids. But that's what it took. That they didn't say, hey, you know, sometimes we battle rap. Today, rappers not only want to beat you lyrically, they like applaud if you get shot. They applaud if you go to jail. They applaud if you have a breakup. Anything that could bring you down,
You remember our
they'll enhance it.
You remember our grade
They stepped aside that and was like, hey, Rob made a play, come on. And I emphasize that though, just to be like, we moving away from that in Grand Rapids. We always knew it's still us, our region, our city versus the world.
You remember our infamous battle in the backstage at the Out of the Hills talent show?
Yeah, I remember the implement that.
Man, it was just the performers there. There was nobody else allowed. They had a little area in the back of the stage where you could just wait before you go on. I don't know if it was the day of the show or if it was the dress rehearsal. I think it might have been the dress rehearsal, and the show was like the next day. And they kept egging us on. Vito, I bet you can't out. You ain't get Rob. Rob, I bet you can get Vito. And man, we had one of the greatest unrecorded. That's what we could do, which it got popular maybe 5 years later. We could come off the top, me and him. And it wasn't even called, what was it called back then? It wasn't called freestyle. It was called like off the top.
Off the top of the head, yeah.
And man, we went back and forth about 4 or 5 verses. Him just going at it. And it just because you know, when you get around other kids, of your peers, you go hard.
Yeah.
You like I ain't taking the L. And we went hard.
Hard.
And Robert Dust. I'll never forget that.
And people just enjoyed it.
Yeah, and he was like, dang, y'all doing off the top of your man, you ain't just bringing it up right now. And we started saying something about what you got on. You know, whatever, something in the room, somebody sitting there, and they just like, wow, yeah.
On that day.
Yeah, we go way back, man, all different levels. Once the record companies got in, it naturally stores separated us because it pulls you in a different direction. He was on, I think he was with Next Plateau for a minute, and then Epic. And so, you know, but we helped each other in the beginning because Rob we both went to the new music seminar, which was a big like rap symposium.
Yeah.
And then Rob decided to go one year that we didn't go, but he was getting in the world, what they called the Battle of the World Supremacy.
Yeah.
They had one for DJs and one for rappers. I don't think they had it for breakdance. Yeah, I think they had to break and do it.
Yeah.
And Rob decided to get in it. And we was like, man, we got to represent. So we went into the war room, my mom's basement. Started working out routines, lyrics, styles. And Rob went and toasted a bunch of big time New York heads, like known rappers.
It's like not calling one Rocky Apollo Creed, but it's like when they went, okay, Rocky, you finna fight the Russian. We got to go in here.
It gotta be a team effort. We gotta set our little rivalry aside because you about to go to the city and battle the big head. And so he was like, it's this rapper here. He say this about it. He say something, say this about it.
What dirt you know on these rappers? Give it to me.
Yep. So when the labels came in, you know, it got way more serious. You talking about your money, you talking about your vision, how you want to be represented, what songs you want to put out. It was a battle back then. So we both started going different directions, you know. That just was a natural evolution though.
Yeah, when your record label grab you, your career starts, and your career not only can pull you away from, you know, your friends, it can pull you away from even some family member, probably not your mom and closest, but you get family, where you been? You missed the family reunion.
You have to lose the innocence of, you know, it's not an innocent thing no more. It's like your label's calling, oh, we want to do this song for the video, or we want to do this song for the video. This is what we want. You know, this is what we want to represent. Oh, no, we want to take it this way. We think this is better. And we both was fighting that with like different labels. Then when you're learning things about labels, we're learning that Profile isn't the best label as far as collecting royalties or budgets, videos. We didn't learn. We thought Profile Records, that's Run DMC. That's Special Ed. That's Rob Bass. We just want to be part of that circle, part of that record family. But then when you get on the inside, you realize that, oh man, they don't for giving out cruddy record deals, and then it just changes your whole focus more.
Yeah, and you cannot, like, even Good as Gold, it'd be hard for people to believe that went through 4 producers before it ended up with Public Enemy finally producing it. So that's a lot of work. Yeah, you going from one guy, you're thinking, I remember Steinsky on Island Records had a nice dance hit. He was the first one to produce Good as Gold. I didn't like the beat what the demo was done. Then we went to the guy Livio that ended up producing Adina Howard. Somehow we got a beat from him, but he was moving around. We didn't get to finish. Then I went to another producer I ain't gonna name, and he was doing so much cocaine in the studio trying to get me to do cocaine. I don't want to do the cocaine. He like, I think you the police. He was having paranoid schizophrenic from the drugs, you know. And this a big name.
Yeah.
Big. Epic was saying, we don't care what he wants you to do. You put his name on it, you're famous. You better get in there and do it. I lost your mind. I'm not finna go do no drugs. Other little things he gonna say that politically correct can't tell that story right now, but we could tell it back in the day. Now political correct is, oh, you were judging this guy. It's like, can't finish. So he asked Public Enemy to come in and finish for him. And so when he talks about how your career could pull you, it's 14 months to make Good as Gold. And everybody in New York saying he's some of the best years you heard outside of New York. I tell them, oh, there's other people from Grand Rapids with this fire too. Don't get it wrong, but thanks for the compliment. But like he said, the industry will call you. And when they see the final product, nobody knows what it really took to get that album done.
And you brought Good as Gold back to New York. It was the best sounding record that had been made from some of the audio of it, like with Hank Shockley, you know, cast, and wasn't
Sean King Studio.
Crown King Studio. So Eric Sadler, he was already here and sent it to New York. And they were doing the best they could to master, boost it up. But to go to New York to record a record, bring it back, as soon as we put it on the needle, it was like, oh man, Mr. Dynamite, with all the scratches and then just the low end was just thick. We like, oh, now you talking, you know.
Yeah.
So those type of things start kicking out. You can't even make a record in Grand Rapids. You don't have a studio here that can capture the sonic quality that you need to have a real sound record. You know, we found that was a harsh reality that we found out that, hey, whatever they doing. And another example is this guy, Ira McLaughlin, who Robert S. introduced us to. He came to Grand Rapids. You know, we had a little studio here called Shade Studios. A guy named Tim Burt. Later I found out it was my cousin. But he had a studio, and all the local artists would go there and record. It was like a little 16 track, half-inch tape in the studio. Had a nice sound. He was more of an R&B guy, so, you know, more like an R&B sound vibe. But we recorded a lot of demos there, recorded our album there. But Ira McLaughlin, who was a New York engineer, and he was working for Atlantic, right?
Yeah.
He came to that studio, and we were working on this song. It was called Japan. And it was just a song Houston constantly came up about some girl from Japan, and you were 3 verses about it. And he came in that studio and tweaked our mix on the same board. He didn't bring no gear with it. He just brought his brain and his finger and went on the board and tweaked the EQ and had our shit bumping, man. Like, and it was just like eye-opening. Like, now that's a professional engineer.
Yeah.
Same board, same song. He didn't retrack nothing. He just went in and changed frequencies, and then recorded it to a cassette tape, which was what you recorded to back then. And we A&B'd our little mix with what he did, and it sounded like it was done in a whole different place, or, you know. So that was the maturity, how we learned about the industry, those type of experiences. Like, wow, you know, it's a way to do this.
When it came to the sound structure with Sugar Melvin McLaughlin giving me the connection to Ira McLaughlin, his cousin, he was an engineer. He engineered Whitney Houston. So I lived with Ira from a time. Then I also lived with Jazzy J. So when I came back to Grand Rapids, it's harder for me to get the younger artists to understand, like, hey, I've been fortunate to, you know, live with these engineers. and you know, learn some equipment. But Vito, along the way, you picked up your engineering skill. You way better than the people you used to have to pay.
Yeah, I was forced to.
Because I hear the stuff young people bring me today, like little Aaron, the stuff you working on, like.
Yeah, I was forced to learn, you know, to fill a profile, run the see, you know, so we had to learn. We shot a video, we had to go to New York and shoot a video. And see, we had put us, I got the record back there, I showed you. We had put our first record out on our own independence, like Pit Records. My mom financed. It was only my mom knew me $1,200. Yeah, I press up a record. She was like, "What? Press a record? Yeah, we're gonna do our own record."
That was one first they got. At first rap label, I would have to give it to them.
Yeah, she gave us the money to press up our own record. So we put that record out, distributed ourselves, took it to different stores. With back then, you would leave it on consign. You take 10 copies in, leave it in the store. If they sell it, they call you, bring 10 more. And it blew up like regionally, any place we could take it to. Kalamazoo, Detroit, Muskegon, any place we could reach in a car. And so Profile called us one night, you know, and the record was starting to actually slow down because it had been out for like 6-9 months. And this guy, Brian Chin, who was an A&R guy at Profile, called my mom's house, "Can I speak to Vito?" And he was this real, he was an Asian dude with a real, like, kind of light voice, like real soft-spoken guy.
It's like, "This is Brian Chin and co-founder. I have your record in my hand, and I really like it. We'd like to sign you guys to the Profile."
And I almost said yes on the phone. You know, like, a little smarter now. It's like, we'll send a contract out and tell me what you think. And we were so young and naive that, you know, we took it to a lawyer in Lansing. He wasn't even an entertainment lawyer. He was like a, I don't know, copyright lawyer. He didn't know nothing about the music industry or publishing and all that. But he did the best he could. He looked at it and, yeah, it looks pretty good to me, you know. And it's like, all right, we're running. It was like $30,000 for two singles and out. And we signed it, you know, and that changed the whole trajectory of our career. And having our own label, our own 12-inch that we were selling, actively picking it up, promoting it, to now we're with a label, and they tell you what to do. They tell you when something's going to drop. They tell you where it's going to be at, what song they think should go out, so that, you know.
You or Brian, when they wrote about Brian get robbed at Madison Square Garden,
You left it.
I was there. I got some of that money was coming out.
Yeah,
What?
they got held upside.
Yeah, they had him upside down.
Shook the money out of fire.
And I didn't know it was Brian Chin till later. Wow. They said AI idea something wrong to one of the rappers, and you remember MCT and Lord Tasheen was on Profile. Okay. And kind of getting ready to leave and having their problems. So some of the cats on the bridge like that, they A&R, they go to A&R. So they go over there. We go over there. I don't think they gonna talk to her. They start beating the man. They shake him upside down. His money coming out his wallet. I'm like, hey, I could use that.
He left the industry after that. He left, and I didn't leave the industry. He left rap. He started doing like house, techno, and he's probably still out. He went to London, he went to Europe, and he was like, nah, hip hop ain't. I mean, but he loved us, and that was the beautiful thing. He saw our vision, and he just had a problem with the label owner. Yeah, you know, but he was like our a little intermediate guy. You know, he talked to him, he talked to the owner. But he loved the whole concept. He could see the vision. If he was more of a forward-thinking guy, he was like, "Oh, you guys got the Euro, you know, kind of new wave influence, and you know, we got different styles, not New York, but you got New York influence." So if he would have been the man, we'd had a better chance at Profile. Yeah. But I don't know, it was kind of like, just throw something against the wall. If it's a hit, we'll promote it. If it's not, we'll move on to the next.
I had to put a disclaimer. I'm sorry that I was laughing about Brian Chin. I'm a commissioner now. And I just fell back into my little 88 rap mode. Kids, do not try that at home. That wasn't cool.
Right.
Some of those guys ended up in the little tombs of the jail for a few hours downtown.
Right.
It ain't cool.
And Brian Chin, though,
And somebody when
he loved Profile, you know.
and he could
He left Profile, so we didn't have an A&R man at Profile. They just assigned somebody. But Brian Chin went to like Mercury Records or something like that. So the person that signed us, that got the whole interest, had left. Yeah. And the project was pretty much done. You know, when we did that She's a Bitch video, they sent us down there, and the scenes like with the I don't know if you see the video, but guy got like a pamper on, mug shooting arrows and shit. They had us set to do that shit. So we get to New York, like, man, we ain't doing this.
Right.
And but we had me, Mark, and Damien and Adam, right?
Yeah.
And they was just they was our dancers, not just they was some fresh dancers, but they was like little cats. They was like shit. We do. It's like no, we was about to pack up and go back to Grand Rapids that night.
It was a whole day fight. The video was a whole. They had all this production. They got a permit for Prospect Park. You know, you have to get a permit to shoot a video. And we was like, what do you call it? Like, then you hold out from the con. We was like, nah, man, we're not doing. I'm not running around Prospect Park pretending I'm Cupid or whatever y'all got us doing.
Right.
And then we reached a compromise with our dancers. Like, we don't care. They was like 13, 14 years old. They were like, man, I'll do it. If I get to be in a video. So it's like, well, we'll do it. We'll just lip sync the lyrics. And so they made a little adjustment. But yeah, I mean, when I got to Profile Records the second time, different than the time we went trying to submit material. When we went back there as artists and they took us in the office, I looked around and was like, this is the same thing we doing at home. You know, I was like, they got a room where they do the shipping and receiving. They got a room where they listen to other people's demos. They got a room where they do the posters and promotion. You know, I was like, they doing the same thing we doing. Yeah. They just in New York. So I was like, I think we just sold our whole, you know, control, our creative control to a label that's not really seeing our vision. So me and the owner of Profile, we just didn't hit it off in the beginning because I was always kind of headstrong as far as like ownership and independence, you know, and for us to say, look, man, we want instrumentals. Like we were the first ones to really think like we wanted to do a whole album just instrumentals. Like MF Doom and cats like did that years later. It was like, man, we just want you to drop the instrumentals and send them to Europe, or let's do a remix based on some reggae. You know, like we was way ahead on where we saw hip hop going. We knew it was gonna bust through because we lived in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It was like Mall Town, USA. We saw everything. You go to the mall, you go to Chess King, you go to Merry-Go-Round, you see all the fashions that's gonna come out because this was like a test market. So we could see that. We knew that hip hop was gonna become a very broad genre, and they didn't have it.
So kind of going along that lines, in conversation with Grim Reaper a couple of months ago, when I was talking to him just about some of the early days, one of the things he kept saying over and over again, back in those days, is because of what you guys did. Is it because of the buzz that you guys created? There were labels coming to Grand Rapids all the time trying to find artists. So what are your memories of that?
My labels.
You said people.
I'll tell you why Grim Reaper said that statement because, like I said, once we both got signed, and we still in contact, still cool. I still stop on walking at the house when I'm in town, and run into them. But we weren't like we were before doing that while we're signed. So I remember a lot of people don't know. You remember Randy Franklin?
Yeah.
On 1140. You know he went working for Clyde Davies.
Dude, yeah.
You didn't know that. Randy became A&R up at Clyde Davis, 3 of his labels. And he was from 1140 AM. So when Grim Reaper was #1, because there was 2, Diego Sims was first DJ. Spin Master was my first DJ. Then it was Grim Reaper. And because I called myself Hellraiser, going through some crazy stuff then, I named him Grim Reaper. So the next one was Tyler Mays, but Grim Reaper won. During the time, we brought Havelock Nelson here on Billboard. You got some pictures of him being in Grand Rapids. You think of Ira McLaughlin, who did the mix for Whitney Houston for his album. He's his engineer who came and did Japan for them.
Yeah.
So Grim Reaper seeing Clyde Davis labels, Ian Allen, who was our roommate with me and Ira McLaughlin, became big time in Def Jam. So he got a chance to see them come here for different talent shows. But I'll tell you what was so crazy. It's almost like yesterday when we had to stop the violence and we announced the city of Maryland was giving $700,000 away for Stop the Violence. People from Chicago and other places are applying. They're running here like, hey, we want to apply to do Stop Violence. But Grand Rapids, we don't need your money. That ain't gonna work. You know, people so used to nothing happening here that when you got Clyde Davis and Randy Franklin, he done hired him from 1140. to put the Midwest on. Randy Franklin with Carter Sign and Usher and all of them. I'm introducing them to Randy Franklin. They looking like at the talent show. No, I got to get the hustler that's selling dope because he got the truck. He go put buddy. We got, and I'm like, no, man, it's a deal. You one of the hottest rappers, and you one of the hottest singers.
Yeah, we left when we split with Profile.
That's
we
what
went
he
to
said.
he went to the West Coast. You know, Rob stayed on the East Coast. We went to LA. We was done with the whole New York labor scene. We went to California and started pursuing deals out there. So we kind of spent. But I would get back to New York since then.
I have to tell rappers to this day, it's like studying. See, they don't have what we have. Now it's an MP3. So when look at all the records Vito got. I gotta grab one of these. I can grab a record here and say, I don't know who, I might not even know the group. I'm gonna grab one where I don't even know the group and what I have to learn. Vito, I didn't know put a coin on top. You know, I used to be marching record. Put it right back.
Just be that. Not now.
Okay, look at it. Houston person, Stolen Sweets. I guarantee you can go down here at the end of the album, produced by Michael Kasuna. I didn't know that. Recorded at Blue Rock Studios in New York City. Engineered Eddie Curvin. Now, I've never heard his song that I know of, but I heard Future a million times. I don't know exactly what studio it was in. I don't know exactly who engineered my favorite hit by Future. But here, this guy might be dead by now, Eddie Curvins, who did this. But I know who did it. So a lot of times I'm talking to artists about you're okay. Oh, I had a chance to meet Vito, and I'm doing this, but I might want to change. Like, yo, you don't know who, do you know who Vito is? Do you know he's a legend? Pioneer, do you know you're one of the best engineers probably in the Midwest? That he should be getting $100 an hour to touch your record? Do you know that if he's on that and he's doing it for free out the goodness of his heart, you got to work with these guys because they are legends. And then they have to do the same to me for artists that work with me. Like, hey, Robert S., if he on your stuff, these is guys. So with the MP3, nobody gets this information no more. Or who these people are. The first time I heard somebody come in with Vito, I think it was when I was at Still 1680. He was working with some artists then too. Yeah. And I used to tell him, like, do you guys know who working on your stuff? Yeah. So I think a lot of time when Diego is when Grim Reaper's talking about record companies used to come here, people didn't know who Have Like Nelson were. They didn't know Ira McLaughlin is engineer on Whitney Houston on the back of her first album. She says, thank you, Ira. I ain't gonna go into what she's thanking her for. It was engineering, but Ira did a lot of other stuff too.
What? So after you guys started giving, some serious movement, and the careers are going right here. As far as Grand Rapids goes, like what happened to Grand Rapids? Like how did that change the landscape of Grand Rapids hip hop at that point?
They believed in rap then because of my deal and his deal. They believed in rap. I'll keep it short since my last answer was so long that Vito elaborate. But we created 2 groups, and then you may add a few others like Gus the Cuts. I forgot what Slug Will group name was. A few groups that came after us, maybe 5 or 10 years after us. And all the guys on Walker's Dial was mixing in the Rodney. What's Boopin' brother name?
School B.
School B.
Oh, rest in peace.
JV. They took it all to another level. But the initial creation, 2 groups. As Vito said, the competition made us even better. And then you throw John Trice in there with his deal, Transformers. 3 groups made the entire city of Grand Rapids not only believe, have faith, they knew it ain't about faith. We know.
And then it just got way.
We know we can make it and do this.
And then it just got way easier to do. Just like hip hop in general. Like when we was doing it, they had a music instrument shop called Pharaoh's Music. Now we would go out there and rent a drum machine for the weekend. At giving like $30 a day, and we could take it home and we program a whole album. You know, you get it on Thursday evening, it got to be back Monday by 11 or charge an extra day. For some kids trying to come up, that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, and we would just go home, the programmer, write a whole album, record it, take it back. You know, the whole process was way more involved. You had to be way more committed to wanting to do it. But after we got record deals and hip hop continued to blow up, everything just got way easier to do. So you start to lose track of what group, who's this, who's that. When we were doing it, you knew everybody that was doing it. You know, oh, he's starting to rap now, or he pop locking, or they got a group. You know, you saw little satellite groups start to pop up based on seeing us at a talent show or seeing us at the Grand Rapids Festival of the Arts. But, you know, after like, I'd say 94, 95, then you saw, I couldn't keep track of all the groups that was on in Grand Rapids because people would come to our basement studio with their tapes that they didn't make it in my basement, but they was like, check this out, man, I did this, you know, checking me and my homeboys did this. So I just think it got way easier to do. There were instruments, the industry started catering to rap. They started making instruments to make rap, drum machines, samplers.
Yeah.
You know,
And nowadays, if you got a laptop, you can do it on your iPhone.
yeah. Here's a quick little story. Back in it, nowadays, the 808 is the root of all hip hop. You can hardly hear a song that ain't got the 808 drum machine, which is the big bass that you hear on every song that I can think of it. The last hit rap song that didn't have the 808 on it, which is absurd. You're like, you can't make a song without having this specific sound in your record, or you're not gonna get played. Back when we first made our record, you couldn't find the 808. If you didn't have the 808 drum machine itself, there was no way to put the 808 on your record. We got one guy named Will Smith, rest in peace, and he was a musician, all-around musician, play every instrument. And he had a machine that could sample little parts of music. And we had a record called Pump That Bass by Original Concept, Dr. Dre. Not the Dr. Dre from New York, but Dr. Dre from the East Coast. And on their record, there was a little part of the record where they left the 808 by itself. The 808 sound was like, ooh. It was just one part of the record. Now, Will came over to our house because he heard we had a rap group, was rapping. And I was like, "What, Will, can you take this 808 and put it in your drum machine so we can program a beat?" And he did. And that's how we made our first record, Swing It. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Because we were able to capture that little 808. I'm saying that to say that's how finite, that's how small, that's how detailed making hip hop was back then. If you could get a hold of the 808, you had a chance to have a hit because it was such a rare thing to hear on a record, to hear the 808 sound, boom, boom. Now, people get, obviously you can download 808, the whole kit on your phone and program a beat. And that's why it's so much easier to make. That's why it's proliferated. That's all you hear is 808. Back in the day, you had to come up with a bass line or some catch little sample or something to catch the ear. Now you can put the 808 on, that dog could bark, and you put the 808 on, and somebody be like, "I love that," because it's a frequency, and I don't want to go into the whole science, but it's actual audio frequency that attracts the human ear. So it just expanded. It just got way bigger.
So what about the venues? So when you guys were coming up, like where were you able to perform? How tough was it? What kind was there a lot of pushback? There some spots that were real cool hip hop. How did hip hop as a art form, public performance wise, how did it start going, and where did it go once you got into this?
I can remember when we started doing shows at like club, we would know some like the R&B artists that got a band or rock and roll cat that got a band. They just asked, "You guys want to just open up, just warm it up before that?"
Or play between your sets.
Yeah.
Band called Passion used to tell us, Eddie Guyton, real cool cat. He reminded me of Charlie Wilson from the Gap Band, great singer. And he saw us at a talent show at the festival and approached us afterwards. "Hey man, I love what y'all do, man. That's some cool shit y'all doing this night. Why don't y'all do a little something between our sets?" They played at a place downtown called the Millie's Palm Beach Cafe right on the road. It's been going a long time now. And they do a set and they give us like however much time to cool down, get a drink, come back on stage. They're like 20 minutes. And they're like, why we all, why we doing our thing? Y'all could have been do your thing. And we would hand the sound man a cassette with our instrumentals on it. And EQ it the best he could to sound like a band, to sound level to the levels that they were just playing live instrument. You know what that sounds like. And he pushed, we like, just hit play, and we got the rest of the show choreographed for 15 minutes. And that's how we first got club gigs. And then from that, we were able to get cool with Dave Bieber, who owned the original intersection in Easttown, not the intersection over here on the chair, but the original intersection on Wealthy. He liked this because we had a kind of a little alternative edge. And we went from opening for rock bands, punk bands, and we started drawing a bigger crowd than the band we was opening for. People, we had more people at the door where you could get in to see us than the band that was headlining. So then that grew into him like, man, you guys should just do a night, And so that opened the door for us going actual live shows, just getting cool with some club owners. And then, of course, we did the Grand Rapids Art Festival of the Arts every year. We did that for 25 years in a row, which is just one day out the year. Well, we would treat it like it was the Grammys, like we practiced for a month, 2 months, just getting ready for our one little Festival of the Arts performance. And Rob did it. Rob had one of the great performances of all time, but he did an actual wedding. And I'll never forget that. Now,
Thank you, I think I told everybody it was real.
but you had told us in advance what you was doing. Nobody else knew. He's like, dude, he ain't gonna believe what I'm doing for festival. I'm like, what you doing, man? So I'm gonna get married. I'm not really getting married, but they gonna think I'm getting married. And he did. He had the whole thing, like a wedding dress, a preacher,
Tuxedos,
choir.
event on the Tuxedos choir,
That's how
invitations out, 1,000 invitations went out.
that's how seriously we treated the Grand Rapids Art performance. That because it was the one time when you got to perform for the whole city. And one year we did it.
It was so fake and done so good. Me and my father got into a fight after it because I fooled him.
Every guy in college is real. Everybody thought it was a real way. And we did it one year. There was so many kids that the police chief pulled me to the side and said, can you control all this? Because he was worried about, because people was amped. I mean, Freeze was the greatest hip hop break pop waver in Grand Rapids history. One of the great. No, in Grand Rapids.
No, I think right.
I mean, I'm getting Jeffrey Daniels, who's from here, but he was local. He was definitely.
I give it to him and Snake. He was the best. And he won the trophy. And old boy was going. So Freezer won the trophy to win all the goddamn. He was such the best that I had to go and search. Like Talent Search America. I can't compete unless I find someone that's bad. So a cousin Snake from Chicago and them had moved here. So when I see Snake, I say, now we could compete a little. Snake was a legend.
Niggas start singing on you too.
Yeah, he started singing on you too, but because of Freeze, that's how hot Freeze was, that our team had to just like, this has been a 2-year mission, but we got to find somebody that can at least hang in there with Freeze.
Festival where the police was like, can you handle, I mean, this has a lot, they weren't expecting, because we were promoted. It was in June, so it was right towards the end of the school year, so we had access to all the rules. We had our flyers, we stick flyers on the telephone poles. So the day of the festival, and they would give us a nice slot. We've been doing it for like 5 years.
I know anybody too.
Yeah, and they give us a good spot like Saturday, 3:30, Oak Camp Bake Stage. And we would tell everybody. So the day of the show, they had no idea how many kids, man. We had like 5,000 kids down there. It'd be like a concert. And they'd be like, whoa, this shit is like, and so that was another venue.
I got a surprise for you too, Freeze. Snake is your cousin. I just found all this out years later.
Man, that's my guy.
Go tell him.
I ain't saw him in there.
Aaron laughing, cause through Aaron, all of us related in here.
Hey, but our relationship
like
with
cousin Aaron.
me and Vito is like, because they closer to the A. So he was more brother figure, you know what I'm saying? But our relationship connected so many hip hop heads, and like from the studios you reported at, and from me, Vito, the Rob reporting at the studio. Now you got 10 of his Marines reporting in the same studio. 20 of ours recording, and like that shit, man, circulated.
He had a lot of money.
Good, man.
But when you talk about the venues, it's so good that he brought up the festival. Like I said, when I did the wedding, everybody thought it was real. And when they asked my girl at the time, was she gonna marry me? They like, will you take her be your lawful wedded husband? And I mean, everybody, but take you this like the really real wedding and all that stuff. She said, no. My family ready to fight her, everything. The music drops, and I'm like, no. And I start rapping. You don't want to marry me. You ain't got to carry me. And what Vito's talking about, you said venues. Rappers today and grand rappers don't consider the festival a venue. That was a venue that we were welcomed at, a venue that we took to the next level, and we got a show for every venue. The show that I'm doing at the festival ain't the same show I'm doing in Knowles like J Soul's, Bill's Retreat. It's a different audience. We got kids downtown. So now I can go to a talent show or something, and I can see kids out there, and the rappers start rapping. I just put my head down like they about to turn the mic off. They turn the mic off. Be like, you cussing, but you hear elementary school talent show, and you 23 years old. Or you 35, And sometimes they would see us in a certain venue and not understand our street connections or the fact that we from the hood too. But if you caught us on Watkins in front of the house and moms wasn't at home, you'd be like, whoa. Yeah, they know the streets and they can battle with anybody to a level. But I think it's very important that when we say to venues, for rappers that's listening to this, and if they think Future and all these top artists don't have a show for different venues, or they just won't do the venue, my show ain't for the junior high school, so I'm not trying to get in there.
Yeah, it rapped everywhere, man. I mean, it was such a novelty. We rocked from Kirkle Shiners, Amway, Wolverine Worldwide. We did the show at the mall for the spring fashion. We hooked up with a modeling agency. And she would let us get up there and rap about every store, like do a rap, mention all the stores and all the latest fashions. And when the models were changing clothes to do the next set of clothing, we get up there and do like a little 5-minute rap about springtime. And, so we had to be versatile. We had to be able to rap about different products. Wolverine Worldwide had a new shoe called the Bounce shoe. Like, can you write a rap about our shoe and then come rap at our convention? Oh yeah, we'll do it. And then give us a couple of weeks. We write, rap, learn it, get up. So you had to be versatile. You had to be able to fit the moment.
First $60,000 I ever made in rap, I was rapping at Cannonsburg Ski Resort. I remember Terry Partee. I wish I could remember this legend. Cedric, I think his name was, from the Civic Auditorium. Cedric Ward got us a $1,500 show at Cannonsburg Ski Resort. We went there, it was so big, we thought we was in a castle. And so we're doing it, and it was like, we get 1,500, we had divided by, several people, couple $100. We're like, hey, Lady sees me, she says, well, I work at this downtown store, and I talk to pro kids, and we're doing a regional. We want you to do the rap. So I write the rap for pro kids. I audition, they tell me they don't want it. But when I audition, they say, you got to submit your lyrics, So I give her my lyrics, she give me to them. No, we don't think we need you for this. I go home, I'm watching Fat Albert one morning. I hear Sneaker Fiend. I'm like, that's my rap. That's my rap, Sneaker Fiends. I put back downtown like, oh, no, that's my rap. Well, they like the rap, it just didn't like your voice. So I said, well, they didn't pay me. He said, well, how much you get a can ski resort? I said, $200. He said, oh, well, come on, person, I'm gonna give you a $200. I'm like, dude, you crazy? She was like, who, what? You get out of my office right now. She called security. I thought, I'm not going nowhere till I get my money. She said, how much money you want? I said, I want $1,000. I'm still young. Yeah. You ain't getting 1,000. So I go home and tell my dad, he called it, we want 10,000. You're not getting, he could come get 200 and sign this thing. So we got a lawyer. Lawyer got done. He calls us back. Is this much? I got to take this. So I don't know what he totally got, but my dad knew, and the lawyer took like 30% off. So it might have been close to $100,000. They gave me 60,000. Once I got to New York and people had found out about the story as I got going to advertising up there, they were like, Robert, do you know how much money you could have got from a national? And we was at our house, $60,000. I'm like, but that just show you how venues that people, when Vito's talking about Wolverine and them doing the thing for the shoe, a lot of time people, I've seen artists that do 3 or 4 venues. Most time they get shot up or shut down nowadays too. That's bad. I think as rappers, I think Vito and myself, we knew what an MC. I think that's an important question to talk about. We're rappers, but we're also MCs. What's the difference between a rapper and an MC? And what are the responsibilities of an MC? We know when we're down here at the festival, if our crowd fight, that's coming back on your okay. Somehow. Even though you can't blame artists for what his crowd does. But we would try. And if I wasn't at Cannonsburg Ski Resort, I would have never got that commercial. Yeah, I would have never got that commercial. So when a lot of time I'm trying to manage an artist, and sometimes I tell them what venues not to do. If a venue's had you do it 5 times and they're taking it $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a show, you can't continue to do that venue till they pay you. And long as you do it free, they're not gonna pay you. So a lot of artists quit working with me because they say I'm a hater. Man, you hating on the promoter. Nah. I'm managing your career is a profession. You can do a free show. Me and Vito did thousands of shows before we got paid. But there comes a point when people making money off you, you have to make money. And the venues like me doing Latin Quarters, there are certain venues you should be working towards. There are certain venues you use to tone your skills. Franklin Park, where I rapped yesterday, that's a place where I used to tone my skills, Sheldon. Vito's house was a venue actually in the basement. You had to go through that for the rite of passage. Go down there, battle free, Rockatelli, Capri, and them. If you don't get totally slaughtered, you can stay in the gap. Venues to tone your skills. Venues to see can you really rock a crowd. Venues to make connections. You might do a show free at Latin Quarters if you making connections. Venues where it's like, okay, I done did you two and y'all cash cow. So if this venue is a cash cow and your name, if you're still building your name, I would say do a show so you can build your crowd. But once you build your base and where you go, they follow, pay me. I hate to talk like that because a lot of people in Grand Rapids don't like when I talk like that when I'm out there talking to the artists. So I like Vito to tell me his opinion because sometimes I'm too abrasive. So this is like my big brother too. I've always been able to put our philosophies together and then kind of change mine in a way that's been more productive for me because iron sharpens iron. But what do you think about when does an artist know the difference between building your career and capitalizing off your career if you're a professional? Because we wouldn't have a black radio station. Some of the things we've got, we wouldn't have if I didn't capitalize off my artists. But usually I'm only with young people and they think I'm crazy. So now I won't give Vito and Free's opinion. When does that change come? Or can you always go back and forth? But I don't want to talk about money like being a sellout, but I want to talk about money is how people have capitalized off hip hop and used the money they made off us in this billion-dollar empire to control our youth with the money because we could tell a kid, keep the lyrics real. But if a guy who made $1 billion off us come and say, no, I'm finna give you make you the richest rapper, I'm finna give you $20 million. To totally disregard and just say the same thing every day over and over. Kill, kill, kill.
As it pertains to Grand Rapids, it's always been a kind of a unique situation because no one ever established anything in Grand Rapids to launch from. If you're in New York, if you're in Atlanta, if you're in LA, it's right there. Everything is there. So you can get an entertainment attorney.
Yeah.
You can be on a label. Through all these years, no one from the business sector has seen it profitable enough or been interested enough to say, well, I'm gonna start something that's Grand Rapids baked. There is no Grand Rapids record company, the TR Records. No one's, and that takes a substantial investment, to commit to that. To really have a record company. I mean, we have a record company. We ran a record company, but it was just us saving up some money, taking the record to Detroit, getting it pressed up, doing the graphics, shipping it out. I mean, it was literally hands-on, grassroots. But to have a record company like, Russell Simmons and Sean Combs, you have to have a substantial investment, and Grand Rapids has never had that. So it's outright like comparing apples and oranges. It's hard to tell somebody in Grand Rapids to have a rap career when there's nowhere, to where you gonna have it from, or who's gonna press the record up. Now now that the young people are using the internet, you can do something with the Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. But still, you could run a label. We got a digital label, a virtual label. But up until the last few years, that wasn't possible. You had to have a place to go. You had to have an entity to drive, to push of your. So it's kind of like hard to even compare. And then Detroit was always kind of Detroit. Detroit was intimidated back in the day. Now Detroit kind of got nuclear out economically. So you can go over there and lollygag around and get there an hour and a couple hours. Back in the day, Detroit there was like a wall. Once you got past Lansing, you knew like, oh, whoa, this is different. Once you started coming 96, 75 into Detroit back in 95, 96, it wasn't like, no, you go over to Detroit, have a good time now, stay at a hotel, gamble, come back. Oh, we went to Detroit this weekend. Back in the day, man, Detroit was like a metropolis, man. It was like 8 million people. It's like, it wasn't just, I'm going to Detroit. So there was a disconnect there. So Grand Rapids was just isolated. And in our business sector, everybody was into other things, furniture, agriculture, whatever Grand Rapids Drive is on, tourism. But it wasn't built on entertainment.
Yeah.
So that is Harvey and think I had it. That's why we left. That's why we went to LA. We couldn't do nothing in Grand Rapids. There was nobody. We couldn't even find a manager in Grand Rapids. We couldn't find a lawyer in Grand Rapids. We had to go to a place where they do entertainment.
I think it's important to mention record companies, and I give credit where credit is due. The first hip hop record label I remember was when they brought Swing, and it made a significant dent here in West Michigan. Like they said, getting interest from record companies. Then when we did Curie Park Records, me and Dante Kelly, we dropped I Sell WAP. And it's still a video that you probably could get some excerpts for your documentary. So when we dropped I Sell WAP, just explosive. Me and Dante was called to New York. We had some money at that time to do our own distribution. I think we could have understood distribution was about to be a lot bigger than what we thought it was at that time. So we probably should have took $1 million deal that we were offered from Touchwood and some other distributors in New York, an opportunity to work with Red distributors. Governor Slugwood, they had their own label that was out. Glove Records by Gerald. You remember Gerald? That was one of your friends. Gerald? Yeah. Love. Gerald Love. But it's Glove Records for that little son. Yeah, Gerald Love had Glove Records, and he had a lot of young kids on that label. But what I like, it gives us the history of some great record labels that had some great starts. But Vito's right. We've never had that record label. And that could be one of the reasons why the youth is very hard to listen, because they're like, we've got to reach outside of Grand Rapids. So locally, we don't have a record label that they can just say, hey, we got a label in Grand Rapids that's like So Def in Atlanta. It's like Def Jam in New York. And many great labels he got in Detroit, it's still not one that our youth in Grand Rapids say. Like when we were growing up in elementary, our parents wanted to go to Motown in Detroit. There's not a label in Detroit. We got Shady Records. They see it more connected with New York and LA than Detroit. They don't say, I want to be on Shady Records. So I'm glad you hit that, Vito.
Yeah.
So because that gives us an opportunity.
That's that much down there, give good air.
That's why I said I wanted to. That's why I said I wanted to expand with Vito and get his thoughts on it, because that may be the thing we need to combine here.
You could take her outside here if you want to talk about the hall, say.
Yeah, that might be the thing we need to combine here. A record label may be the thing we need to combine here and really get started in Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
You guys never stop being hip hop. So, as continued hip hop citizens of the global hip hop community, but stationed here in Grand Rapids, you know, where you see Grand Rapids hip hop moving to, who are some of the key players in the community that you believe should be working together, and then how can you guys maybe intersect yourself into that?
It's all like it was in the beginning, man. How do you get good? You know, that's bottom line. The cream rises to the top. You know, you can have a whole pool of people just doing mediocre work, average stuff, and they can pat each other on the back. Oh man, I love TV. But if you want to make a global impact, you got to get good. And whatever that takes, whatever genre, whatever angle you want to come in at, you got to get really good at. If you're a lyricist, if you're a producer, engineer, promoter, dancer, signer, you got to get good. You got to get good. Like Floyd Mayweather Jr. He was just a Golden Glove guy in Grand Rapids and never took it to another look. That's where he would have been at. He would have been like, oh yeah, he's one of our Golden Glove guys and pretty good. And he would be remembered as that. But you know, at some point, man, I got to be as good as anything out there. I got to be the best at what I do. That means I got to get a trainer that could train me on a international level. I got to have a cut man that's best cut man in the game. I got to have promoters. I got to have marketing people to take me to that level. And it's the same. That standard is never going to change. You know, you have to be able to get to a internationally global level of talent, okay? That skill is that what you do. And the only way you know that is by doing. Put a record out. You know, you got to go ahead. At least work for it. And so if you're not as great as whatever you want to be, you're going to be good. Like, you can't just give up, you know what I'm saying? And we got to try to elevate your skills, and high as you could go, it's going to be good, you know?
And I'll say too, bring it together. Hey, it also goes back to venues. If you walk into Profile Records, even though you may not perform, you may have to do an audition. So it's a venue. When I go to Detroit, we can go to a cigar shop that's having a party, rap battle, poetry. And I'd lived in Detroit before. So I know a little bit about the streets of Detroit. I didn't live there long enough to know. But you could take some of the hardest lifestyles of Detroit and those guys rap, and you could take them to the cigar shop, and you can have this battle, and you could be like, you could bring the mayor of Detroit in here, and the mayor would appreciate it. You might hear some profanity here or there, but I could go to a little venue in Grand Rapids and say, I'm going to the rap battle, I'm the commissioner. Wait a minute. People popping pills, people flashing guns. They think this part of the culture of hip hop. And not to say in the back in the day, we didn't come with people who carried guns, or we didn't come to a venue with people who later did life in jail for killing people who rapped and sold drugs. But when we come to a venue, this is about the art. And we might even rap about some of the things we've seen our friends do. But when you look at Grand Rapids, it's a venue itself, the entire venue. What works here? Now, Detroit, there's some place you go, you might see that. But most of the top-notch stuff they doing for hip-hop, you probably wouldn't see that. When I went to New York, the first time I went to the Fever, I go in the bathroom, Melly Mel doing cocaine. I'm broken because I'm 17, this is my hero. 17, 18, this is my hero. This is like my father. I listen to his rap when I wouldn't listen to nobody else. I listen to the mess. I listen to White Lines. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, don't do it, Billy Bell. White Lines, don't do it. I want to battle. He sniffing dope. And I'm like, hey, I'm one of your biggest fans. He looks up like, oh, okay. Thanks. Okay. I'm just devastated. He went out on stage and rocked it. So in the Fever, that venue, they could do cocaine there. These rappers gotta understand, you can't do you at every venue. Now, you could do you as rap and hip hop, but if you just think like, okay, I want to shoot some heroin in Grand Rapids, and I'm gonna go up in the venue and shoot some heroin. We don't have very many places. We haven't got the money yet in hip hop and the power where you could just put, if that's what you want to do. I would hope no one would want to open a heroin shooting gallery or, a gun shooting gallery. But till you get the money to buy your own venue and say we could all come in here shoot each other, you got to say, who owns this? Who's allowing us to use this venue? How can we come back and use this venue for what we need to do? You got all night to go out and drink and have fun and shoot guns in the air if that's what you want to do, but you can't do it here. I would say, if we can't come up with the money ourselves, which I think we can unite and do it, but since Grand Rapids is giving money to people to open clubs, Grand Rapids is giving money to people, and you see the people that they're giving the money to open clubs and jazz clubs. None of these people are people that you picture will be in there, shooting heroin or shooting guns. These are professional business people who sat at the table, got the money, and is trying to give something to the community where people could come and respectfully enjoy themselves. So I hope people will respect these new venues opened by these new entrepreneurs downtown. But we can go get that type of money also too, for hip hop things and the things Vito talking about. And if you're a person that feel like a lot of my boys, a lot of people didn't understand me, a lot of people behind me, I would be the representative. If you're the type that you can't have a meeting, without the blunt, you can't have a meeting without this, and you can't go nowhere because people chasing you, and then you can't afford to get caught without your gun. I understand some people cannot afford to get caught with their gun, but I hope it's legal, so you don't do 5 years pit. But I'm just saying, if you're not that person, you got to send someone. I'm off Lafayette, so my whole street supported me. My whole street was behind me. But at the same time, it'd be Rob, you go down there by yourself. I can't sit down and do like that. I've been to cuss somebody out. Rob got a better temperament.
What?
Somebody got to represent the company. Ruler Russell Simmons, look what he did for us in hip hop. But the people behind him, he represents the whole street. But he was the one who represented it and took hip hop further than Sugar Hill did, even though they put his own started. Russell took it way further. So don't look at cats like Vito and think that that the older guys, you don't need them. Oh, you need them, because when you're sitting down with somebody that's about to put $1 million into rap here, 200,000 or 300,000, they're gonna be our age.
I just want to clarify the talent perspective. It's like shooting pool. You go to any bar and they have a pool table, and everybody can put $1 in and shoot a game of pool. But if Willie Moscone show up, that's a different game of pool.
Word.
So a Minnesota Fats show up, that's a different game of pool. And hip hop is no different. You can do hip hop. You can rap. You can have a rap notebook, carry around with you everywhere in your backpack. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a very enriching pursuit. It feels good to write a rap. But if you try to do this as a profession, as a personality or an entity or celebrity, then you have to get really, really good, man. And I'm a hardliner when it comes to that. A lot of this shit needs to get cut off. It needs to get to okay, this is this real shit. This is the real professional. It's like jazz. It's like anything. Coltrane and Miles Davis, when they walk in, that's Miles Davis, man. That cat can blow that horn. Now, cat that likes to blow the horn on the weekend, okay, that's good. It's like a fisherman. I like to fish on the weekend, okay, catch a few fish. But then this guy called him Bass Master. He can look at the water and know where to fish at. How did he get to that level? He spent a lot of time learning about catching bats. And hip hop hip hop has all these little back doors that eliminate those standards. The 808 is a back door. You say anything, 808, you go blah 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 blah. Hey, you got a chance to shoot my head, who knows, man? Say some crazy shit, my head, who knows? And that's where hip hop is a paradox in that way. When it comes to talent, you gotta have something that says, okay, what's the talent And what's somebody that's just doing shit? Just like shooting a game of pool. Like, this guy shoots a good game of pool, but he's not a pool master. That's why cats name themselves Grandmaster this, Blast Master this, because they're telling you, man, I'm at a level with this that I can get up here and do this thing where people will be like, whoa, 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 hold on, man, hold it down. Let me hear what you're talking about. Let me listen. And that kind of creates a separation and lets everybody else do other shit. Like, man, you might be a good plumber, dude. You might be a good janitor. You could be a good technician. You might be good at some other thing. But we all can't just run through the rap door and be like, that's what I'm gonna do. Just like you can't all run through the hoop door. There's a line. The NBA is gonna cut that line. There's a coach, there's a scout that's gonna cut that line. Like, dude, you nice, but you're not that nice. You're not getting on the Atlanta Hawks, man. Sorry. You might either go to Europe and Google or something. You might go to Canada and get a check for this. But you're not getting in here because you're just not that good. Yeah. And hip hop doesn't really have a way to see.
That's not a popular attitude to have.
No, it's not.
Young generations now.
Yeah, but I'm a hardliner.
Everybody that's tried.
40 years deep in it, I'm a hardliner when it comes to that. Because I've been studying, I've seen it. Like, I know what I know, I like what I like, and I see what I see. So I'm like, I'm not giving people passes just because I want to do hip hop. Okay, man. Well, you got to pay some dues. What they say? 10,000 hours?
Yep.
Start there.
Be an expert.
Start there. Or unless you're just a gifted. Some people are just, come out the womb. You don't need 10,000 hours. You know that when you see it. When Michael Jackson did the Ed Sullivan show, he didn't need to do no 10,000 hours. He did I'll Be There or whatever first. You did that first spin and did the jank. That's oh no, that grown folks. Diana Ross was like, oh no. This is something different here. Now this is something like if there's a kid like that in hip hop, you gonna know when you see it. But you can't just have every kid running talking about I'm doing hip hop because that's the cut. Like when you go out for the basketball team, they stick the names on the wall. Tomorrow after practice, if your name ain't on the wall, you didn't make the team, man. And then you have to look at that and be like, I didn't make it. Now, if you thought you was wrong, then you go try again next year. Or you go to the transfer to a different school, maybe, the coach didn't like it. You can figure out all kind of justification, but there's always going to be a cut in any skill.
And people gassing up your friend's head, that changed hip hop too, because it became, well, you're from my block, you're from my street. See, I could go on Watkins and battle, and if Vito said something hot, my friends on Alexander and Delaware, which they love here, they still be, that was I already got you right there. You got to come back, or you better come back hard. Now it would be like, oh, we live on another block. Nothing the other rapper says will we respond to. Right. Now we gonna respond to the rapper off our block before he even finished the sentence, before he even start. So you get people that get gassed up, and then when they're a fish out of a pond in new waters, now you gotta leave Grand Rapids, you in Detroit. Your block, 20 people on your block don't mean nothing. Now you in a crowd full of 1,000, 2,000 people. So, and not saying I'm telling blocks don't support your boys, that ain't gonna never have to stop. But you the rapper, don't let that gas you up. You gotta find a different checks and balance than just your small circle to know that your rap is expounding and your rap is going further. Because what Vito's talking about, it goes to us. We didn't have mob money behind us. We didn't have big street money behind us. All we had being in New York was our rap talent. And it's undeniable. Once you get your talent to such a level, like a Mos Def, like a Chance the Rapper, like Common, it doesn't matter what you're rapping about. You could be rapping about something totally different than everybody else. Once your rap is at that level, you're undeniable. And somebody in the industry is going to have to let you in.
Yeah. So I got one more question for you guys. I appreciate you guys taking time. Two questions. First one is, can we do this again at some point in the future?
I think we have to.
I think that,
It's too deep, but we really got to expound on it.
It need about 10-part series. The top of law and just, but that's for this state. Not to cut you off, but that's another thing. That's content. Like I'm not about this like giving away. I mean, I think the story should be told, the history should be documented, but we want to sell this story. It's a story than just to be flopped out on the YouTube. I mean, I understand.
Yeah, we can only give you so much, but we love you, so we giving you a piece
I understand the
of the diamond mine. You get to leave with a diamond, but
yeah, you gotta put it out there so people can know the history. But this story, this Grand Rapids, as this pertains to Grand Rapids and being black kids in a Midwest, Dutch controlled, really conservative community, and in hip hop, and like I said earlier, mall culture. It's a story that's never really been told in hip hop. You know, you've heard the New York story. You saw Dr. Dre interpretation of how they came up. But this Midwest thing, it was a whole different animal, man. Yeah. As it pertains to not having a record company, you know, being in a place where there's no real outlet. And stick with it this long, and then for him to become a commissioner out of it, take another route. It's like, okay, hip hop, you know, do this, and for me to do art, and for Freeze to do all the things he does with community work, helping people, like to find all those avenues and still keep your skills tight. That's a real story. So yeah, I want to do it again, but I want to run this to Netflix. I want to run this to somebody that's like, hey man, I want to get it in cameras. Yeah, and I want to add animation. I want to really get in these files that y'all got and show you what this journey has really been, because it's been an amazing trip, man. And people who lost along the way. We haven't talked about all the people that we lost along the way. We mentioned School B, who was just like incredible, man. His story needs to be told. I mean, he was the one that inspired me. I've been inspired hip hop since he asked. Yeah. He was a guy younger than me, but he'd bring his beats over or his song, and I'd be like, Paul, man, I'm going back to the drawing board. I'm about to make something off of that school. I'm not going to copy it. I'm going to use that to inspire myself to do. And when he has, everything went dark. They even told us after that, we submit demos and like, oh, it's kind of dark, you know. Yeah, man, we just lost our guy. We just lost our what we consider our, keep our outside. Oh, there. I'm just drinking that. Yeah, I'm okay. She don't know that. Yeah, she, Trick. Yeah, put her in all.
They lost School B, and we had a rapper, Delightful Day. They just had a voice that was just, hey. They're like, we had lost Big Bang Hank back in the day after his first album.
So many lost. That was a young loss, being not in deal. Young, yeah, these losses happen to me early in life to lose these people. So, I mean, that's just another portion of it. Like, what about all the cats? So, you know, yeah, we can do
it. One of the first incredible DJs, Fin Master, even though he lived a lot longer than Scoop B and everybody else, just as the digital age is coming where we can affordably record the history without paying hundreds of thousands, then we can distribute it without paying hundreds of thousands. Just as this digital marketing come, and you got like Slug will do, and I'll give him like the historian of hip hop. And you still got the original pioneers, You're Okay, Fantasy 4, Vito, Freeze, and myself, Barbara, that's together. And then we lose Spin Master. It's like, wow, how much on the DJ version he could have brought to the table of a story.
And then how it ties into sports and politics, and, you know, Grand Rapids is a very unique place. It has a very unique story. And I think it needs to be told on a global scale. So yeah, let's do it again.
Who's the godfather of Grand Rapids hip hop? And one funny story, like what's like one crazy story you remember about each other that you just haven't mentioned yet, that this is like the craziest one pull out of your head?
Crazy story about ass out. We'll say that for a later day.
They ain't crazy story. This is a crazy story.
Yeah, every day was crazy, man.
I had a girlfriend. We used to play basketball in her driveway, and it would be we and Robert S. versus Freeze and whoever else. So Snoopy brother, Snoopy little brother. Dang, girlfriend's little drunk. And just that, I mean, there's no punchline to it, for just hooping with S. And he still reminded me of Kevin Durant. You know, he like, you can say he kind of looked like it. And even back then, you know, I had a disability, so I couldn't really do too much, but I had a J.
And me, he want to say it too.
So we balance out the disability. Freeze could hoop, but he was playing with a little kid. And I mean, her brother was like, eh. But then it's me and S, and we go hard. We would ask F about that 2-on-2, the 15 or the 21. And so, you know, these two could match up because he could hoop. And then me and Suki's little brother, we going at, oh man, those fun times, man. I'm gonna get it to Rob. Rob, take Breeze down low and throw it down to you and just bang on him, dude. And then Breeze would just take you outside, wow. And it would always come down to like the last shot. And so, that's one.
And the funny thing about us all, our love for each other saved us from our desire to win. You have never saw 3 people that hate to lose so much.
That's right.
And I would love to challenge Free because this look would come in his eye. Free usually happy-go-lucky, crack a joke, chill. But once you challenge him, I don't care. In his basketball, whatever, him and Vito didn't look coming in the eye at everybody. We rapped out, let everybody go higher. But the second you decide who won or lost that day, whether it's basketball, it's none but love. We will instantly go back to it.
And as far as the Godfather, I don't know. The Godfather from the actual literal term, like the Italian mob Godfather, I don't know. We was the first to do it, so we did double.
I was the first to do it, but they think they were the first to do it,
Right.
and I think I was the first to do it. But if they say they're the first to do it, I can't argue. Like I told him, I said the good thing is we're the only 2 that could argue about it.
That's right.
Cause when I saw them, I didn't know how long they had been rapping, and I know they didn't know how long I had been rapping. I would just say we the first rappers. The only reason I would probably say I'm the Godfather, and I wouldn't say it in front of them because they need a title just as equal. Because I think the street kids look at like he said, that term is very abstract. But since there's so many people now talking about who isn't, it's come up. I was saying the street terminology, I would probably have to say it because the lifestyle that I was leading, like I had to monetize. Here I got this great art. But not only do I have to monetize, I have to see that other people who don't care about hip hop see the money. So they coming at my head. Not for hip hop's sake. I'm in it for hip hop's sake. But I'm also a person whose mother was, mentally hospitalized at 12 years old. So I have to, everything I do in life gotta pay for where I live. The second I lose in rap, I would be homeless. I was homeless again in my 20s. Got back on, was homeless again in my 30s for a small time. So it's like when I lose, it's not go home with mama. It's go down the mill trotter, So when they come and say, well, we coming into hip hop because we see they making money at them clubs. We got to shut them down and steal the club from. This is money we used to put back in our career and other rappers' career, building hip hop. And not saying I'm mad at them people, angry at them, but that's just the game. Some people want to make money. Now we got a battle. Radio station won't play our music. Now it's like we sit down. I can give you interviews with guys that tell you that Robert told us they won't play our records on 1140. He gonna go in there. He don't care if he gotta be the janitor. He'll be running the station for 6 months or a year. And it happened. But it was planned because we're going to the radio and they won't play our music. So in that street level of Godfather, then it's the politics. Now we got the radio station, the politician trying to take us off the radio and get rid of our radio. We in the news with politician attack us. Go back in the corner with my boys from out here. Well, we got the radio station. Now I'm going to have to go run for commissioner. If I don't get commissioner, the other commissioner's going to take us out. We already helping people on the radio, but we didn't want to do it politically. We do it because, sad to say, when we was growing up, it'd be people in the street that would commit crime, help us quicker than the politicians. That's just what they did. To exist, they know they did some dirt, but they had to do some good or the neighborhood gonna kick them out. So they'd be the first to jump up and buy shoes for people. So when I went on the radio, we just continued coming out the streets. Blessed that God brought us all the way out the streets. For we misled some youth into the streets and into incarceration. More than probably a lot of us already did when we were young and dumb. But we continued to giving, and it was like, I got to run for office. The people is right. These ladies say I need to run for office because they see the commissioners trying to knock me out the box. And they signed me up. Nah, you can't. Nah, I'm going to do it, man. You won't win. I got to win. You lost. We told you. I'm going to run again. You lost again. You done embarrass yourself again. I'm going to run till I win. Finally, I won. And I'm just glad that God blessed me to know the responsibility. The commissioner took me to another level. The responsibility when a principal introduces you to a classroom and you see them kids looking up to you and saying, I can do this. Now I'm thinking like, ain't no more backslide. Ain't no more going back to the streets. Ain't nothing, because if I mess up, these kids gonna go and they gonna put it all over the news. Look what this fool did. So in that abstract way, there had to be a godfather in the hip hop game, and connecting the fact of being one of the first rappers. I ain't arguing with Vito to who the first. I just say we are the first.
So he'll be the godfather.
They need a name is equal. They need one just as equal.
You godfather, I'm good.
He need one that's equal because he deserves it.
Well, listen, let's come up with one right now. What's the name? Come up with one right now.
Deserving.
He godfather, I'm guru.
The Guru.
I gotta say, until these doctors get this bullet out my arm, the little piece that's still left in here, that tingle. Until they get that, I'm about the whole Godfather. And until this car go away and get stabbed one night, stalking somebody fighting in one of our bar fights, yeah, I'm gonna take Godfather. And I hate to keep it that real with the kids, but you know, people know we lost Biggie, we lost Tupac. So I was rapping and probably at the height of my rap career when Biggie and Tupac got killed. So I was still in it and out in the streets. And like Vito said, I stayed through the New York and the Grand Rapids. So I was in that era where it's like, it's sad it came to that, because people, what I love about Vito is him and Free, this is real hip hop. Like he said, it's an art. And when he's telling the kids concentrate on the art, not only will that art economically help them, it will save their life. Hip hop saved our life. Hip hop stopped people from wanting to be in gangs and fighting. They wanted to break dance. So when rap got to the point, hip hop is bigger than rap. When it got to the point that people are thinking like, okay, you say you rap, but can you fight? Like what? Anybody ask Shakespeare, you say you rap, but can you fight? I'm gonna stab you, we're gonna fight. And if you lose the fight, you're done. If you lose this fight, everybody in rap say, we saw you got your butt kicked. You out there fighting, I'm doing clubs from 9 to 2 in the morning. I come out at 3, it's like, okay, you kicked our boy out the club. Pull out the cameras. You know, as it got into the 2000s, I gotta say, I had to knock somebody out when I was, what, 53? 2-3 years ago. It's like, it's just like that. If we can get you on film and we can get you beat down, you're done with the hip hop game. It's very sad that it came to that. And I hope out of everything with you interviewing me and Vito and Freed, it can just show these people, like I said, I was homeless. They came and got me out of the car. Not only did they take me home, people look at it as a small thing. Okay, they had the place upstate. No, they fed me. They fed me, they clothed me. I got to see Vito's books and all his album stuff. And then I started being like, I gotta buy a dictionary. His vocabulary was way beyond mine. I'm just graduating school. They ain't taught me really nothing. But I'm like, I wanna be able to compete and keep battling with Vito. I went and bought a dictionary. You remember I had a rhyming dictionary, you know? And I just read it all day.
The first one I saw a rhyming dictionary. I didn't know it was a rhyming dictionary.
You said that's the first time you saw a rhyming dictionary.
I was like, wow, that makes it easier.
I was in my bedroom, in Vito's bedroom, but he had a bed set for me on the other end. Yeah, I'm reading the dictionary. I'm reading the whole rhyming dictionary, just reading it. Then I'm reading the real dictionary, just reading what words mean, because I'm like, Vito's in college. And I want to keep up with him. But the love, he said the art, if we concentrate on the art of hip hop, we can save hip hop. We take for granted that it's going to be here. Yes, it may be here forever, but what shape is it going to be in? Like, look at us. We're older guys. Older people our age didn't look like we looked back then. We thought by the time we this age, we'd be out here. You know, but we're blessed. What is the shape of hip hop going to be if we don't concentrate on the art of rhythm and poetry?
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Then, is there anything I want to give y'all? Some other video. This shit, you got so much, guys.
All right, Monk.
All right. bro. I met the guru of rap today. The guru. I love that.
Godfather and the Guru.
I love that.
Freeze. Man, I probably God's son of popping, man.
The guy-
I graduated into writing and doing hip hop like on the musical tip. But I started more like popping. So it was still the culture, you know what I'm saying? We had all the elements of it, you know, the dancing, the art, the music, the visual, all that sort.
First time Moon walked on me, I almost cried. Man, I was like,
Yeah, Freeze's transition from dancer to rapper is a whole nother chapter because he was not in. He came in on his own chapter. Now he's one of the dopest in blue all time.
Michael Jackson was moonwalking like this. Freeze was looking at the front and started moonwalking like this. I don't know how he did it. Them girls went crazy. Yeah, I said, oh, Lord, oh, man, how we got to come up behind this? I don't know. We ain't got no answer. Yeah, I tried to do the camel walk. It ain't get no love. I said, I got Freeze. I'm going to pull the camel walk over. I came out there. They looking at me like, what the dude doing? That's it. Yeah, Freeze, that the day y'all just, man, you a Sundance. I'll never forget when Freeze did the moonwalk. He did every direction you could do. And Vito was choreographer when they would rap, then they take a break, and the break would let them dance. But then we had no adults really to tell the young people how talented they were. We didn't have nobody to come tell us. I look back and go, wow, that was magnificent. But I don't think the adults, it's a miracle hip hop survived and y'all got your deal and I got our deal. No adults. Your mother was one of our #1 supporters by letting her use the house to do this and everything and always believed in y'all.
Yeah.
But no adults can. Man, that's magnificent. You need any help?
Yeah, they didn't have. We did it as TA. We did it. We just practice too, man. Don't nobody practice. Everybody's like almost get on pedestal and say I'm freestyling my whole album. And I don't even like hear no freestyle. You know what I'm saying? There's such a man. Yeah, we practice like learn that rap. Here you go to the studio. You got that rap on tape. Like I'm about to learn this blunt. Next time I go to the studio, I'm gonna be snapping on you. You know. Now it's like, he come on. You can make a record in about 15 minutes.
And then Vito, they had record when they had to call in your cousin Leonard to play bass, you know. Call in Jeffrey. Me and you both will call in Jeffrey Valentine. You almost did Peterson, Jeffrey Valentine. Today, you don't have many artists that even think about collaborating with our local musicians. They were also a part of hip hop in their own way. That's it. Good, but that's it. Thank you guys. All right, big man. So I enjoy being here with you guys, man.